put it this way. The, 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 the politicians, they are not going to be um, in love with the Integrity Commission at all. Not at all. Because they want a commission that they can boss around, right? They want that. And once they can't do that, then I can well imagine that they are not going to be in love with the commission at all. We have public, we want to talk now with public commentator. Mr. Lucius White, good morning.
Good morning for you, afternoon here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I am lost.
Well, I'm not surprised so much things happening.
Yes. No, you would have seen where the Integrity Commission made in their latest report indicated that they are probing 6 parliamentarians for illicit enrichment, and also they are also looking at, I think, 2 permanent or 3 permanent secretaries. Have you seen that?
Yes, two permanent secretaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I said it a while ago, but I have said this many times, that I think it would be a good thing for public servants, politicians, from councillors go right up, to declare their assets publicly. Because one of the things that I have observed over the years, that you have politicians entering the field 2.5 miles away from poverty, and within 5 years they are millionaires.
Yes. Well, there are rules which are supposed to, if you want to call it, put light on those subjects.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, in the wisdom or otherwise of those who designed the Integrity Commission Act, they actually create an institution, but created it with the kind of restraints. They have on the muzzle that guarantee this impotence.
Yes.
So it could be effectively used to endorse people, but not to sanction people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the unfortunate thing. Now, once the Integrity Commission begin to show signs of its discomfort with some of the things that you have mentioned of people incapability of explaining the rapid transformation of their fortune, then they have become more or less the target of the political sector.
Yes.
And this is why I for one, am saying at this moment that based on the existing laws and constitution, the Integrity Commission, for it to be effective, the investigator, the director of investigation, and the director of prosecution, their posts must become constitutional posts so that they cannot be displaced by political directorate.
Yes, sir.
Because as it now stands, I wouldn't at all be surprised if the director of investigation or the director of prosecution choose safety first and either turn a blind eye or just don't press on with certain cases, because the truth is their position is not guaranteed, and you could have a situation as happened in the past to a previous director whose contract was just not renewed and out you go.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Right.
So I think the Constitution needs to be amended, that the Integrity Commission, the Director of Prosecution and Investigation, the post must be protected similarly to how the post of the Director of Public Prosecution is protected by the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, as it now stands, even if the Director of Prosecution and Investigation decide to proceed with criminal charges against someone, according to the powers in the Constitution, that the powers that are endowed in the Director of Public Prosecution, the Director of Public Prosecution can take over that case at any point and either tell the court that they're not going any further, and that is it.
Mm-hmm.
It is not subjected to no further argument. And in the light of the current situation, I believe the DPP office has lost its moral authority, and it can be subjected to people's speculation as to the authenticity of its action. And this is why I would say, rather than maintaining the system of the monopoly and total authority of prosecution by the DPP, that power must be shared by the Integrity Commission without fear of being overruled by the DPP.
Yeah, well, I see where you're going, but you know, as it stands right now, it is incumbent on the public, people like you, the media, people like you, people like me, other public bodies, to stand up for the Integrity Commission. No,
yes, we must.
One of the things that we must remember, you know, this is a fairly young organization, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is, Dave, what I'm trying to say is, in standing up for the Integrity Commission, I am saying that among the things that must be done in the transformation that is supposed to be going on with the Constitution of Jamaica,
yes,
the constitutional reform, must be an amendment to the monopoly power of the DPP, and have that power shared by the Integrity Commission.
yes,
As a matter of the Constitution rather than by law, because by law, the Integrity Commission Director of Prosecution and Investigation have powers to investigate and to prosecute.
yes,
But constitutionally, they can be overruled by the DPP.
yes,
And this is why, if we're serious about empowering the Integrity Commission, it must be done in such a manner that no other body can overrule their intent to prosecute.
yes. And because the other thing that we observe, that quite recently the parliamentarians have, you know, came out swinging against the Integrity Commission.
Oh, yes, and maybe for good reasons, because no doubt they are aware of the number of them who are under investigation.
Yes.
And the best defense is to try and sully the reputation of the Integrity Commission,
Yeah.
so that the public feels that the Integrity Commission is merely acting as a partisan entity rather than an independent entity that has found problems.
Yes. And
other people, we have to be aware. We must be sufficiently aware and not allow people to use us merely to endorse themselves rather than to move in the interest of the public as a whole.
yeah, we have to do whatever we can in our individual, both individually and collectively.
Collectively.
Because
I am saying more power to the Integrity Commission.
yes, I heard you. And this is one of the things that I would suggest that you do. I would suggest that you put that in writing and submit that to the Constitutional Reform Committee. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, because one of the things that we must remember, this is an opportunity for us to present our views to the committee, and also we are also afforded the opportunity, or we can, to go before the commission and present these views. Because, as we pointed out a while ago, we have to defend the Integrity Commission. And because the country is facing a lot of corruption. Corruption is hanging over us. And we know that over the years, as a matter of fact, I dare anyone to challenge this, that the politicians, over the decades, the politicians are the ones who have been the leading players in corruption and corruption charges in the country. They have been the leading players. And I can see clearly why they came out swinging against the Integrity Commission. You would have seen where the chairman, retired Justice Spanton, where he said some MPs revealing true character through the vitriolic high C critique. So Mr. Panton observed how some members of parliament are behaving, right? And he's in the paper. He said that some parliamentarians have used abusive, disrespectful, and libelous language in their verbal.
And use the coverage of parliament to do it. Yes.
Yes. Right.
These things, but there's something which I think I must point out to you. Politicians are corrupt, but they have no exclusive monopoly on corruption. They are jointly involved with private sector.
Yes.
You see, most time people are pointing fingers at the politicians as if they are acting alone.
Mm-hmm. No, they are not acting alone.
The members of the private sector are involved along with the politicians.
Yes,
and also, say that again.
And also members of the public sector.
Yes,
it's not only the politicians alone. right?
That is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And there are other people involved. And this is why it is so unfortunate that when the Integrity Commission tried to do its work in spite of the impediments which were deliberately put in place to ensure that it does not function properly, they are subjected to the kind of abuse that they are being subjected to, merely because they are not covering up as some in the political entity would want them to do.
Right, sir.
It is very, very important that we recognize that corruption is corruption.
Yes.
But sometimes people try to believe that corruption is only corruption if you're pointing your finger in one particular direction. And if you have a proper system with the kind of transparency that it ought to have, then you will be able to address the problem properly with the appropriate sanctions for those who are guilty.
Yes, yes.
But the way things have been organized is that some people will never, ever be asked to face the music. And if you dare to try to let them face the music, you are the one who are going to be put outside. And this is why it is so important that in the constitutional reform, we put in the kind of teeth. In other words, when when sanctions are laid, it can't be business as usual. A breach is identified. The Integrity Commission points out the breach. And people can contemptuously continue in breach, and there is no means of sanctioning to say your power that you normally enjoy by the Constitution is suspended until the breach is corrected.
Yes, yes.
And this may sound drastic, but anything short of that, you will get what we have, which is contempt of the Constitution.
Yes, sir. Yes. And you would have observed earlier this year how the politicians, they made submissions. They want to reduce the powers of the Integrity Commission. That was one of their presentation, you know.
The people of Jamaica ought not to sit idly by and allow this to happen.
Yes.
You see, I don't know if people recognize how contemptuous people are of the Constitution.
Yes.
They take all the powers that the Constitution gives and refuse to be restrained by those restraints which the Constitution have written down.
Yes.
And a very simple one. You look at the matter of state of emergency. The Constitution states what a state of emergency is. And the allowances that it gives for that 14 days where the Prime Minister or the executive can declare a state of emergency. And they must come to Parliament. But the conditions of a state of emergency is stipulated. And when those conditions are not met, Parliament is actually going against the Constitution itself.
Yes.
By permitting the continuation of those systems.
Yes.
And when you look at how contemptuous it is, where people are prepared to go every 14 days and change two little boundary in order to avoid the restraint which the Constitution intends so that people's rights cannot be trampled upon.
Yeah.
You must realize how dangerous a situation we have.
Of course. You would have seen where a gentleman out in western Jamaica there, where the court awarded him $4 million last week for breaches of his constitutional rights. He was detained.
Right, and that is in addition to the one other that was $10 million, and they said they are appealing it. And remember, there are 10,000 people who were detained and never charged with anything.
Yes.
So you have 10,000 people out there who have justified reasons to make a charge against the state for abuse of their rights.
Absolutely.
So far, about 20 of them have lined up.
Yes.
But all of these things happen because people are contemptuous of the Constitution that gives them power and refuse to be restrained by the Constitution that says this is how you ought to do things or you cannot do this.
Yes, of course. Well, Lush, I tell you what, I want to thank you very much for your contribution. And, you know, as usual, we have to keep these items on the front line.
Blessings to you.
Yes, and as I said, try and put that submission in writing and let us submit it to the Reform Committee. Okay?
All right, blessings to you.
Yes, that was Mr. Lucius White, public commentator. Then we were just talking about what the latest report from the Integrity Commission. Oh boy. Let us go for a break. This is Rebel Radio.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
PRSL Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connelly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0014.
Get your home ready for summer!
Tools coming in hot, hot!
With a whole heap on your arrivals and specials!
Everything for your bathroom, kitchen, living room.
In fact, for every space!
Porcelain tiles, ceramic tiles,
windows, doors, and much more!
We have it all! Savings, savings, savings!
Come shop now! Big time sale at Tools Hardware!
So, come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware!
Do it for your best life. Wait. Go check your HIV status. Wait. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda husband, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connelly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0014.
One, two, three, two more. One, two. Adults to 30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right. Vegetables, make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up. Make sure you know your health status. Go a doctor and get a regular checkup. Chronic disease can slowly creep up. We can lower the risk and live up if we just eat right and get moving. Jumping, running, dancing or skipping. Change the children, them lazy habit. Make them play out the door and put down the tablet. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. After two, make me hear you say I love me. One, two. I love me. One, two. I love me. One, two. I love me. After two, make me hear you say I love me. One, two. I love me. One, two. I love me. One, two. I love me. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime, but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69, and there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what you know anonymously. Contact Crime Stop today.
Yes, and welcome back to Rebel Radio. And at this time, we are going to be going over to Mr. Robert Stevens. He's from the Advocate Network. Now, the Advocate Network is a network, a group of Jamaicans who they want to see some serious changes to the Constitution. And so what they have done, they have launched a debate among schools. Yes. And so far, I think probably is over 100 schools have been involved. And we have with us now Mr. Robert Stevens of the Advocate Network. Good afternoon, Robert.
Good afternoon. How are you, Desmond?
Well, I'm supposed to be okay. Now, yes, tell our listeners and viewers about this initiative that the Advocate Network has launched.
Well, what we have done is we have partnered with an organization called Jamaican Debating Association. Yes. And what they are doing is they have contacted all the schools throughout Jamaica and invited them to submit teams that can come up with a debate team for each school that will choose a topic and will be talking about the new constitution for Jamaica.
Right.
So up to now, I think they have 28 schools that have registered. Mm-hmm. They have most of the parishes. Up to the last time I checked them, I think they had 12 of the 14 parishes with schools represented. And what they're doing is trying to find schools in the other two parishes so that we will have every parish in Jamaica represented by at least one school.
Right.
And the idea is that they're going to debate, different topics related to the new constitution. For instance, the question of whether there should be a Caribbean Court of Justice versus using the Privy Council in the United Kingdom as our final appellate court. Various other issues will be discussed, obviously, but the point is that what we really want to do is get the youngsters in the country involved in coming up with ideas for the new constitution, debating them, researching them, discussing them, and coming up with ideas for educating all of us about what their thoughts are, and let us determine how we can put something together that is really meaningful for everybody in Jamaica.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. So these debates, when these debates are held, are these debates, are they going to be submitted to the Reform Committee?
Yes. What we have done is we have arranged with the permanent secretary that all the debates will be recorded and all the information will be submitted to the CRC, which is the committee that has been set up for the redesign of the new constitution.
Okay. And you said that you so far...
We're having zonal matches. Zonal matches will start on Monday, July 17th.
Yes.
And the first set will be at the University of Technology, and essentially we'll have all the Kingston schools on the eastern side of the island. Mm-hmm. Then you will have Zone B, which is going to be in Montego Bay. That will be at the University of Technology in the UTech campus in Montego Bay, which is in Dome Street in Montego Bay. And then we will have the last one at Church Teachers College in Mandeville. so that all three zones of the island will be divided into three zones, and you will have everybody represented at those three venues.
Okay. So I can imagine that adjudicators have been chosen and will be in place to adjudicate.
Well, Jade has a whole list of adjudicators that they use for debates, because, you know, Jade has been around for about 10 years.
Yes.
And they have conducted a lot of debates all over the island. This, however, is the first time that prizes are being offered. And each school that participates will get $50,000. And every school will have the opportunity to win some major prizes. The first prize, the team that wins, will get $700,000. So it's really, it's worth their while to enter and to win.
Okay, all right. And you said it has started already, right?
It's the actual debates will start on Monday, the 17th of.
Oh, I see. And those would be the ones in the corporate area.
Yeah, the ones in the corporate area will start on Monday up at UTEC.
Yes.
And then after that, they'll go to Mobay, and then on Tuesday the 18th, they'll be in Mobay. Wednesday the 19th, they will be in Mandeville.
Okay. So how many schools will kick off this competition?
As indicated before, it's going to be at least 28.
Okay. No, I mean on Monday. In Kingston, how many schools?
Monday, I think you will have it would be about a third of that.
Okay.
Which would be probably around 8 or 10 schools will be involved in the Kingston area.
Yes. So participants choose their own subjects, or they are guided?
They are guided. They're given a list of potential topics, and they can choose from them, and they can do their research and determine how they are going to present their arguments for a particular position that they're taking. And, it's going to be an exciting period for not just the participants, but for the people who are listening in and participating online, etc. Everything will be, the hashtag for the whole broadcast will be Afiwi Republic. And it's going to be on various platforms, including the Advocates Network, as well as Jamaican Association of Debating and Empowerment.
Okay, yes, I see. So I would imagine the response so far has been enthusiastic, eh?
Oh yeah, very enthusiastic. And what they're doing is they're developing, there's a competition for a jingle. There's a competition, various inside competitions are taking place as well. And the students at the schools are all very excited about it. And of course, there will be voting online as well, where each school will get some points for the most votes that they get for their presentations. So that, it's also involving the public in the whole process. And the idea is that we don't want these things to be just limited to school children, but adults can listen, the parents can listen, the various other people associated with the schools can listen, the teachers, etc.
Yes, I get you. So this is the Advocate Network's contribution towards the constitutional debate.
We really strongly believe that, this whole new constitution is going to be more for the youth than anybody else. Because many of us oldsters, we're not going to be around for much longer. The constitution we have now was really based on the 1962 version. So it's been around for over 60 years. And what we really want to see is a brand new constitution that is going to take into consideration the outlook of the youth of the country. Yeah. And ensure that their views are incorporated in whatever is decided for the future.
Yes, I get you. And and that is the reason why your organization have chosen to focus its attention in this direction. Yeah, I get you. But
yeah, and we also want to do the universities as well as youth clubs. There are a lot of youth clubs all over the island that are interested in participating, and we have a lot of very active youth clubs that are involved in various activities that they want to have their say as well.
Yes.
So we're trying to organize to identify all of the youth clubs that can participate and all of the universities. But it is not likely that we will have as many as we have with the high schools, because the high schools are a bit better organized.
Okay. But you said...
Not only that, but clearly we have more high schools than we have universities, you know what I mean?
So you mentioned university. What role the university you expect
Say that again. What?
What role do you expect the university to play? You want them to be set up debating groups too?
Yeah. Most of the universities have debating groups, and what will happen is that each university will choose a topic, a particular, topic that they want to debate, and there will then be contests between universities. So we're looking at that as well, and that hopefully will be launched in the period between September and December of this year.
Okay. Yes. So Robert, how you actually getting funds for this initiative, man?
Yeah, what we did was we reached out to the private sector locally, internationally. We reached out to the government. We reached out to various donors all over the place. And we were able to raise $15 million for this first set of debates, mainly from the private sector. And to be honest with you, one major private sector group overseas that says they are coming in to invest in Jamaica. And they would like to see, inputs into a new constitution coming from the youth. When they heard about our program, they said, boy, they would love to back it. Yeah. And, an overseas investor, 15 million Jamaican dollars is not a big thing.
No, not at all.
For local companies, we got some local companies involved as well. We got, in particular, Sagicor. And we also got JMMB through the Joan Duncan Foundation, because they're very much, a youth-oriented type of organization.
Right. And
between themselves and the overseas group, which Cerulean Stars is the name of the company, and they say they're coming into Jamaica shortly, so they want to see some serious debates take place. And, we have been able to raise the $15 million, and we've put on the debates. Up to now, the government says that they don't really have a budget that can support anything, but we're still hoping that the government will play a role and will come on board and participate, and at least take the results of the debates and put them into the mix of things that they're considering for the future.
Okay. No, and just on a little broader note, the Advocates Network, when apart from the debates, what are some of your ideas? What of Advocates Network's ideas that they would like to be inserted in the? What are some of the changes that the Advocate Network would like to see in a new constitution?
The Advocates Network was born out of concern about the way that our country is being run.
Yeah.
We are concerned about the governance models. We're concerned about, justice. We're concerned about the fact that human rights are being abused daily. And what we want to see is far more programmatic and accountability, and the fact that, there needs to be less corruption in the system, and ensure that people of Jamaica are getting value for money when it comes to what we have as politicians running the country.
Yes.
We were very, very upset over the fact that politicians were able to give themselves essentially 200% plus increases in salaries. And we don't think that they deserve it, because up to now, we have all of these gaps, problems, our education system, our health system, our various other systems are not showing signs of significant improvement. The crime is still hanging around like a noose around our neck. And what we really want to see is far more focus on the priorities of getting things right for the country, rather than thinking about paying yourself.
Yes. Okay. And Robert? Hello, Mr. Stevens. I don't know why we seems to have lost him. Let me try and get him back online. Mr. Stevens? Yeah, I don't know what really went wrong there. Hello, Mr. Stevens. I don't know what happened at all. Yeah, we are talking to Robert Stevens, the Advocates Network, but I seem to have a little breakdown in our communication system there, and just trying to bring him back online. Yes. Well, as you can, Robbie?
You got cut off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened a while ago, but we are back. Yes, so you are saying advocate.
There's another call coming in and cutting you off. All right, hold on a second, hold on.
Yes. Robbie is straightening out his telecommunications network, right? And as he indicated that, was not pleased, his association was not pleased with the way all the politicians went ahead and grant themselves, hefty increases. Yes. And
are you hearing me now, Desmond?
Yes, Robbie, back with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have been taking, over the past 2 years and a few months, we have been taking issue with a lot of things that are happening in Jamaica that we feel are going wrong.
Right.
There have been politicians who have been caught with their hands in the till, and there's very little, other than a little rap on the knuckles, or, you get pulled into Jamaica House for a few months and then you get reassigned. We're really not seeing a seriousness in terms of dealing with things like corruption.
Yes.
We are now hearing that the government is taking broadsides at the Integrity Commission. They want to essentially defang the Integrity Commission.
Yes.
There are reports now that have been submitted to go to Parliament and to be tabled from the Auditor General. And to date, we have never had a problem with the Auditor General's reports going to Parliament.
Yes.
All of a sudden, the government says, no, we need to get a legal opinion as to whether we can put these reports in front of Parliament, which is just an annoyance where you instead of having a government that is serious about stamping out corruption and stamping out, bad governance, what we're seeing is that they're basically condoning it, which don't make sense.
Yeah.
Because what we should be getting is these reports that are exposing the situations and corrective action taken.
Yes, sir.
That is really what a lot more of.
And I have no doubt that you would have seen that the latest Integrity Commission report has indicated that they are probing 6 parliamentarians for illicit enrichment. Have you seen that?
I've seen that, and it's seriously worrying, because it just means that we're going from crisis to crisis.
Yes.
And what we are seeing is that a country that should be rich to the point where we have free education, free health care, free taking care of our poor and our needy, right? And looking about providing housing for those that don't have houses. Instead of that, they're looking to increase their salaries and basically block any attempts by the Integrity Commission and by the Auditor General to expose corruption.
Yes,
that
sir.
don't make sense.
No, they can't, none at all. When I saw that, just to go back to what you pointed out a while ago, when I saw what the excuse given by the Speaker of the House why she is seeking having consultation with the Attorney General, it's just some weak, feeble, nonsensical argument, and we can see it is part of a plan, because prior to that, you remember a few weeks ago, the parliamentarians were bashing the Integrity Commission, and they made presentation in the House, which, as you pointed out a while ago, they wanted to remove powers. They want to weaken the Integrity Commission, and then after that, they are now withholding the submission of reports from the Auditor General and also from the Integrity Commission. Now, this is very serious.
Really, it smells to high heaven.
Yes.
And, it is absolutely ridiculous what is taking place. And it's an excuse for government.
Yes, it's totally out. So, I would imagine that your organization has been upfront and been participating and paying attention to these meetings by the committee. Now, Robbie, one of the issues that we also observed that the government is lackadaisical on, and we're talking about the Privy Council. Now, it is clear the British indicated some time ago, from some time, longer time, that they would want us to have our own Court of Appeal. Now, as we speak, we know where the opposition head is. We know where several members of the committee where they are. But so far, the government's position on the Privy Council, that has been clouded. The last thing I heard was that they are taking consultation. I have no doubt that Advocates Network would want us to sever links with the British Privy Council.
Well, we are actually submitting our position to the committee on Friday of this week.
Yes.
And one of the issues clearly will be the whole question of the Caribbean Court of Justice, which we think has proven itself.
Yes.
And we believe that it is time that we sever ourselves from the Privy Council and begin to stand up as people of the Caribbean and people of Jamaica and, be able to take care of our own business. Why do we have to go back and get a visa in order to present ourselves before the court in London? Mm-hmm. To me, it really is not something that even needs to be debated. It's something that should be immediately put in place, and in fact should have been put in place long ago.
Yes,
from the time the court was formed. We have been paying for that court to be established and to be maintained.
Yes.
And yet we are not utilizing it to the extent that we should as a final court of appeal. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous. Now, as it relates to the current system of government, what is your organization take on should we be looking at a executive president or a ceremonial president?
put it this way: we're in fact finalizing our position because, we have debates internally with various members of our group as well, and we are going to be putting something in writing, as I say, on Friday,
yes,
to the CRC, and at that time, the position of the Advocates Network will be made public.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Shakespeare, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And just to let you know that this platform is wide open. Let us say, to be continued. So,
thank you very much, and we look forward to your continued support because, we all believe in one thing, and that is common to all of us, and that is good governance, justice, and we need to look out for the human rights of all our people. Thank you very much for the opportunity. All right.
Okay, Robbie. All right. That was Mr. Robert Stevens from the Advocates Network, talking to us about his organization position, what they are doing to enhance the constitutional debate. That is something that we have to pay attention to. On Fridays, we have a 1-hour program here where we have discussions about the Constitution. Because as Mr. Stevens pointed out, this is a Constitution that the youth must play a part. This is a Constitution for the young people. Oldsters like myself, we have inherited the 60-year-old Constitution. Now going forward, the young people should have a role to play in this new Constitution. Let us go for a break. This is Rebel Radio.
Show you the deal is all night I've been uptight and then you're inside and then I'm alright cause you're so clean if you know what I mean to hold you and never let go. You need to be here in my arms. Hey babe, on my shoulder. You need to be waiting be too long, can hardly wait a minute more. Say excuse to the crew you're with, come feel rubbed up hardcore. Yes. All night I've been uptight and then you're inside and then I'm alright, because you're so clean. If you know what I mean to hold you and never let go. You need to be here in my arms, with your head on my shoulder. You need to be here in my arms. Yeah, yes, dance for the woman. And we dance there in the meantime. Dance for me, woman. Hey, hey, hey. Dance for me, baby. Do it like I'd love you to do. Dance for me, baby. Oh, yeah. A work of art, that's what you are. Any which way your body turns. Picasso, Michelangelo would war as to which one should own, yeah. Fulfilling what your body gave, yeah, it's enticing and not surprising that you're so clean. If you know what I mean to hold you and never let go. You need to be here in my arms, special lady. You need to be here in my arms. Rock me like that, baby. Dance for me, woman, dance. Oh yeah. Take me out of my world, put me into yours. Yes. Hey, babe, I want you to dance, baby. Dance, baby. Dance for me, yes. I love you like that. Yes, you love me like this. Oh, yeah.
Now listen what them say, yeah, yeah. Now listen to them there, yeah, yeah. Now follow what them say. Then we say out and make poverty get wet. Sure. Free, poor people be free. In every community, we burn this unity, burn this honesty. Poor people be free. Shed some light with clarity. I'ma tell them say the crime it caused by the poverty. Watch out. Forward we going and we non-stop. Up it up, get on youths cause we non-drop. None of them we sell you out because them want spot. Them no feel to eat your food like them a chop. Done, arms house we done, poor house we done, court house we done, jail house we done, dead house we done, arms house we done, poor house we done. See that? The youth them want a brighter way, and the youth them want a brighter day. Babylon them just a fight away. Tell them free your poor people right away. They run your water and your light away. Injustice take away your rights away. Then them send me so dead to take your life away. It's like them want say night and day. That one your name. Forward me going and me non-stop. Up it up get to you because we non-drop. No for sell you out because them want spot. And no fear for eat the food like them a chop. Done, arms house we done, court house we done, poor house we done, jail house we done, dead house we done, arms house we done, poor house we done. They use them progressive, Babylon possessive. Them fight reggae music as a hit a carry the message. Music alone shall teach them the lessons. Rastafari reggae must be glory and the blessings. So me say free, poor people feel free. In every community, we burn this unity, we burn dishonesty, we burn partiality, we want equality. So shed some light with a lot of clarity. Alright, so me go so yo. Forward we go, we now we non-stop. Up it up, get to you because we non-drop. No for them we sell you out because them want spot. And no afraid to eat your food like them a chop. Forward we going and we not stop. Me say pump up the rhythm, make it one clap. And no worry about it, but Mr. Appa worry about Mr. This and Mr. That. That one you know. Now listen what them say, yeah. Now listen to them there, yeah. Now follow with them there. Cause them will sell you out and make property get wet, yeah.
How for you them carry gun? Go lock up in a Babylon. What is you man? Tell me. Up in a Kingston 7. Vietnam a run red. Tell me what I want. Stay in a milling pool in a the river bed. String up big sound and a whole a mess. Watching the youth them play. Happy smiles on them face. Fish a fry, pot a rice. Everybody feel nice. Then all of a sudden, a police fire that man a run, you to run. Some of them a get flat. Everybody fun just done. Party crash in a Augustone. The man them ain't no level. Up in a Kingston 7. Tell me what I want. In a Augustone. It used to be a merry place. Peace and joy was the story by my granny face. No come down no safe. Soon as them cry, war broke in the place again. I will have to see the day when youths can play upon the river bank. Man from outside just a rock to the bass and a shaken in a it's a politician. What is it that you want from? Tell me what I want. In a Augustone. Up in a Kingston 7. Vietnam a run red. Tell me what I want. All the people in the ghetto. Me need enough to live up. A sound of a string up. A build back my good vibes, feel alright. But if we continue to fight and live in divide, Mr. Babylon can just take our lives, and there will be no more ghetto youths to shine. Shine them light, keep it bright. In a Augustone, in Angola, Augustone, round the crusade, Augustone. Tell me what I want. Augustone, over the river, over Bryson. Tell me what I want, where the innocent gone. Augustone.
got my head spinning. No kidding, I can't pin you down. What's going on in your beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what it means, but I'll be alright. My head times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down and around through every mood. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You crazy and I'm over my mind. 'Cause all of me lost all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your heart to me, I'll give my hands to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. I'll give you all of me, girl. Yeah.
Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. And, we have been talking about the situation, the governance situation. We want to have a talk with, well-known Jamaican journalist, Mr. Hilton Dennis. And, we just talk about what is happening, Integrity Commission, all kind of things. Hilton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners.
Yes, sir. I am sure that you would have seen the latest arguments, the latest disclosures from the Integrity Commission. What do you make of it, sir?
Well, I think we have spoken in a preliminary sort of way about it already when they had started this whole furor and attack and whatever.
Yes.
I have a strong view about these commissions of parliament. You and I know the history of their setup, right? They were established in response to the outcry for justice.
Yes.
In many different respects, right? And the Integrity Commission is an amalgamation of several entities.
Yes. Just lost. Don't know what happened to Hilton. He just went. Let me try and get him back online. Yes. Hilton, I don't know what happened a while ago. I just lost you. You went. Are you back? Yeah. Yes.
Right. So the amalgamation of several bodies, including the Office of the Contractor General,
right.
Created the Integrity Commission. It's a very recently established body, and the same circumstances that led to the Office of the Contractor General being targeted are leading now to the targeting of the Integrity Commission. I was against the amalgamation. I had direct conversation with the Minister of Justice, Deborah Chuck, about this omnibus entity that was to be created, that the spread of the resources would be much thinner, right? Because you would be tasking this Integrity Commission with a lot more than the separate commissions or agencies had undertaken.
Right.
So the commissions would be more lengthy.
Mm-hmm.
And you are continuing this practice of censorship and gag. So the public must not know what the Integrity Commission is doing, what it is investigating, right? We don't have that practice in our justice system. Somebody is charged with an offense on mere suspicion. It is flashed across the headlines. A trial commences. The trial is drawn out. It is reported every time there is an appearance in court, a mention, new date being set. The trial commences. There's a daily reporting. So, you can't say that a body is investigating parliamentarians or public officials and must not say so to the public.
Yes.
Unless it finds, the official to have committed a breach.
Yes.
And then proceedings are instituted, by, I don't know if the clearance of Parliament is needed, but proceedings are instituted against this individual. Only then should the public be made aware. That's rubbish, because that's having two standards.
So you would have seen that they have declared that they are probing 6 parliamentarians for illicit enrichment. You would have seen that, eh?
Right.
Yeah, and also permanent secretaries too.
Correct. Well, all public sector officials in relation to, your assets come under the remit of the Integrity Commission, even the Director of Public Prosecution, which is why I found it odd that she appeared to have been scolding the commission or its commissioners over how they proceed in doing their work.
Yes.
Because, they would at the very least be peers.
Yes.
Merely having a prosecutorial function does not make you, the superior of others in the justice system.
Yes. Well, Hilton, one of the things that is that in Jamaica, the officials, public and private, remember they are not socialized to account to the public, remember. So therefore, whenever, that is why I say that the Integrity Commission is an institution that has to be protected. Yes, because those who are in charge, they are not socialized to account. So any organization that is calling them into account, that organization is going to be pressured by them. They are not going to be in favor of it.
Difference too, that, by amalgamating, the persons you appointed to this new body would have ostensibly understood, right, that they were supposed to be complicit in silence, and therefore their independence and their autonomy, would not be part of the arrangement.
No, sir.
So it seems like a betrayal to the public officials who appointed them.
Yes.
Because they were supposed to be completely silent.
Yes.
Now, I blame the media for this sort of thing that goes on, right? Because the media even allowed itself to be joining into this chorus of talking about, the people flying off and announcing investigations that fall flat. And it's not the media's business to be taking sides in a matter like that.
Yes.
The media must be interested in the fact that there are investigations going on, what the investigation is about, and what is there to support the investigation so that, it leads to where it ought to lead.
And the media must play its central role, that is to defend the public's interests.
Right, and remember where this thing is coming from, because as you said, we're not socialized in an environment where the leaders who say they represent the people feel that they're answerable and accountable to the people.
No, sir.
They prioritize or they see themselves more as being sovereign.
Yes.
And the people being their subjects.
Of course.
And that is a very grave mistake.
Yes.
But it is what is done in practice. So, even the media accepts it as the norm. It should not be so.
Yes.
They say it is not so, but it is very apparent that it is so.
Yes.
Right? They have done things like, created a hierarchy of murders. Yes, in other countries, in other jurisdictions like America, you have murders of different intensity, first degree, second degree, third degree. We understand what that is. But it's not classifying and say, okay, murder by self-defense murder by manslaughter, murder, but that's not the classification. They have said that if you murder a public official, right, a politician, a public servant of a certain level, a police or whatever, it is a more grave act than if you murder an ordinary citizen.
Yes.
However heinous the murder of the ordinary citizen is.
Yes.
So the penalty for murdering the official is greater. You understand what I'm saying? And the media has accepted that. And it was a political appointment to the High Court that led to that reclassification of murders.
Yes.
I mean, it is okay and sufficient to have murders of different intensities, the manslaughter and so on. But why are you going to say that some lives are more valuable than others?
Yes, yes. Well, you know, one of the things, you know, is that how the system is designed. You have to remember the media practitioners, you know. Media practitioners are sons and daughters of workers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the workers are at the lower level in the society. They are below the rulers. So you know there is a
lawyers and teachers who are sons and daughters of workers too.
Yes, but what the point I'm making
by a profession, not by your social.
But what the point I'm drawing your attention to, that there is a tendency to, for those who are below the rulers, there is a tendency for them to behave as servants, you know. Remember, there's a psychological side of it too.
It's a culture that has been spawned for people of that level to behave in that manner.
Yes.
And those of us who are supposed to come from, you know, not be from the manner, and yet acquire those social habits that would be more befitting of one from the manner.
Yeah.
We are upstarts.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Rebels and upstarts.
Yes. Yes. Hilton.
But I'm just citing different instances like that classification of murder, the amalgamation of these public oversight bodies, right? The ways that they are frustrated in carrying out the work. You form an Indicom, for example. All Indicom wants to do is make sure that citizens are not being wantonly executed and abused by those who are supposed to care and protect and serve and protect and whatever. And I mean, I would, if I was in the forces that Indicom has oversight for, I would want to get Indicom's endorsement that I have not done so. I have not done it.
Right.
I would therefore not be upset when Indicom undertakes an investigation, because I want them to investigate and to exonerate me and to prove that I have carried out my task in a professional manner. But there is umbrage to the mere investigation of an act.
Yeah.
And the ones who are most vocal against Indicom are the politicians.
Of course.
Yet, supposed to act in the people's interest.
Yeah.
How come you set up a commission, right, of oversight to ensure that justice is manifestly done, and you take umbrage to how it does work, right?
I tell you what, Hilton, we have to continue because we are up against it. We are up against the time, right?
Right.
So you know that to be continued, Hilton.
Be continued is always a thing for us.
Thank you very much. Yes, that was senior journalist Hilton Dennis talking to us about public affairs. Let us take a break. Coming up next is food security. Let us go for a break.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagley Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
RSL Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connelly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0014.
Get your home ready for summer!
Tools coming in hot.
With a whole heap on your arrivals and specials!
Everything for your bathroom, kitchen, living room.
In fact, for every space.
Porcelain tiles, ceramic tiles.
Windows, doors, and much more.
We have it all! Savings!
Come shop now! Big time sale at Tools Hardware!
So, come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of all.
For your best life, go check your HIV status. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime, but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69, and there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what you know anonymously.
Hey,
Contact.
it's a girl Shensia with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shen Yangs, everyone say wear a mask, get the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Sanitizer gets hospitalized. Fight the virus, then fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it. You can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it. You can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
Welcome back to Rebel Radio. It's Wednesday, it's time for food security. You know, that program that where we look at Jamaica's position to provide food for its people. We have with us two agriculturists. We have agriculturist scientist Dr. Omer Thomas, and we have the acting CEO of the Agricultural Investment Corporation, Mr. Owen Scarlett. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon, dear.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, are you hearing me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we are hearing you loud and clear.
All right, okay, all right. Now, Mr. Scarlett, I want to start with you because I saw in the papers last week where there was an article pointing out that there was going to be an expansion in the agro farms. Kindly update us on that.
Yes, and you are so correct. As I say, we continue to, we want to expand the agri-farm. So over the next 18 to 24 months, we are currently building out two pre-project here. The Bridgepen Amateur era in St. Catherine, the Panassus era out in Clarendon, and the SS Valley out there in St. Elizabeth. And that cover over 1.3 hectare of farmland that is basically built out with irrigation infrastructure, drainage, road, and we also want to market infrastructure, cold storage. They had it to those agro park area. As you know, the agro park was basically started some 10 years ago. So we want to basically, going forward, we want to improve infrastructure so we can continue the food storage, food security, which is very critical going forward.
Mm-hmm. No, just update us how the agro parks work. In other words, these are operated by the state, but how do farmers access and participate in them?
Well, as you know, under the agro park program, under the Agro Investment Corporation, it's a public-private partnership where the government provides lands and we put in irrigation infrastructure, drainage, road, and then this is leased to farmers / investors. And the minimum acreage that is leased is from 5 acres up to over 100 acres for investor based on their financial, their market, and also their implementation plan. So that is basically what is done for these investors.
Okay. So I can, as an individual, can apply for a 5 acre or 25 acres to plant peas or beans or carrot or any agricultural crop. That's how it operates?
Yes, and you're so correct. So based on once you fill out that business plan there and you outline that you can adequately, basically provide the capital to develop this 5 acre. You have your marketing plan, you have your implementation plan, and basically you go to the lease evaluation committee, and then it's reviewed by the lease review committee. So it goes through a process.
Okay.
How friendly, let me just ask you, how friendly is the process to potential investors?
Well, the process, as you know, is one that is with different criteria and streamlined, and it's a process that is monitored by the Integrity Commission. So once we hit the market and advertise, we have, for example, we have 200 acres of land to be leased. That is going. That basically now we basically monitored by the Integrity Commission, and that those documents now will go through our property department and agro department. That agro department, these documents are being vetted to see the type of crop. So the agro department look at the type of crop and see if it fits the style type. Business development department now will look at the financial, the expenditure, the cash flow, and the revenue that you expect from these crops. And then go back to the property department. Now we'll basically organize for the lease evaluation committee to go through now and evaluate these proposals. And then for the lease evaluation, it is now taken to the board, which is the lease review committee, who will be
basically do their vet and give their final approval.
But Mr. Scarlett, boy, the mouthful, man. That sounds like I've just talked about where it is unfriendly.
Well, documentation, documentation is key. So when an investor will call and say, "Why I did not, approve," you can show the different process that it goes through, and you have the documentation. So if the Integrity Commission calls you or it's a right to you and says, "Provide documentation why this investor didn't," you can show the proof. So that is why it might, it's a process.
The integrity, yes.
I just question though, Mr. Richards, before you get in.
Yes.
Because I didn't know the process appeared to be so recondite, if not confusing. Because if a person is serious about investment and has his capital to come and invest, I don't see the reason why there should be this level of stumbling block with all integrity commission involved in these kind of things. If we are serious about, I'm not criticizing what AIC is doing. Probably they have to do it because of their mandate and what is expected of them by the civil service bureaucracy. Okay, but at the same time, if we have a critical issue at hand, and that issue is one of food sovereignty and food security, right? We're seeing high prices of food, basic food items in the marketplace. We're seeing scarcities in food items from time to time. So it behoves the people who are responsible for making available the environment or creating the enabling environment for people to invest without the type of recondite and confusing type of activities that you have to pass through to get to invest. It means to me, appears as if we are not really wanting to accelerate the process of food production, but to bureaucratize the process so that people become frustrated before they reach anywhere and find something else to go and invest in, a la importing and selling, which is the most popular thing these days in investment in this country. I was saying, Mr. Scarlett, that if you develop your agri park and you have some of the characteristics of that agri park in terms of crop suitability, or the soil capability, it makes it much easier for you to go to target some investors, target them and say, look, on this soil, we can do these crops. We know you have money. In the same way we go abroad and seek investors to come in and invest in all kind of things in Jamaica.
Right.
We can go to our own people here in Jamaica. Because a lot of people, Mr. Richards have some money, but Mr. Richards doesn't know what to do with the money unless people like Mr. Scarlett will just go to him now and say, look, Mr. Richards, you need $5 million to do 5 acres of red kidney beans. And this is the area which we are recommending for you to do it. Mr. Scarlett?
Yes, sir. Thomas, and I'm happy you bring up that point. And that is why some lessons have been learning developing these agri parks. So we are doing these new agri park, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are going to go to market. We're going to have some stakeholder meeting, and we're going to present these information. So we're going to present the site, what can be grown within the Bridgepen era, what will be your cost of production to do 5 acres. So that information will basically be presented. If you are going to do sweet corn, this is what your cost of production will look like. This is what your revenue is supposed to look like. If it is cotton and pepper. So going to the market, all this information now is going to be divulged. What type of style we have in the Bridgepen. In Bridgepen, we have clay style inside here. What is a 1-to-1 clay or 2-to-1 is loam, sandy loam. So we have the mapping of the area. So we have hire consultant to do some detailed work within these. So we'll be highlighting. I even want to put up a sort of like a billboard where you can advertise and show the information, the crop that can be basically grown within this environment. So that is exactly what we are doing this time around.
Have you started a process of targeting investors? Go to them. Go to the investors who have the money to invest.
Yes, so currently we are building out a package currently. So we sat this morning, we have a meeting in out with marketing and business development department and agro park and property. So we are basically building out a package to go to market.
Well, why the Integrity Commission, Mr. Scarlett? Why the Integrity Commission is involved in this process?
Well, once it's public asset, it goes through a process, and they want to know that it was transparency and accountability. So they want to know that the process was basically fair, and you didn't give it to to your cousin down the road or your brother down the road. So
you people have not consulted me, Mr. Scarlett. You have not contacted me as an investor. So you're afraid.
We haven't gone to market as yet, so you will see it,
Right.
Mr. Richards, I must say though, based on what Mr. Scarlett has just said, it indicates to me that they are very serious about what is to be done. And it's very good that this is happening. Very, very good it's happening. It's a long time we have been waiting for this kind of thing. So we have to congratulate Mr. Scarlett and his team for putting these things forward so that we can increase the food production in this country.
Absolutely. How many acres in total? How many acres are going to be available, in these locations?
Well, for the Bridgepen area, it's 197 hectares of land.
Is where? Bridgepen is in St. Catherine?
Bridgepen, St. Catherine. That's why we're going to all over there, out of Macclespen there.
Yeah.
And we're expanding the amateur area within that area. They're both land are contiguous. So we are further to 82 hectares there. So it's over in St. Catherine and Clarendon, you'll have over 1,500 acres of land that will be going under irrigation infrastructure and road infrastructure and drainage. And then over in St. Elizabeth, Valley, we have 810 hectares of land that is undergoing infrastructure development. So that's almost close to 1,500 hectares of land over the next 18 to 24 months.
And if properly developed, properly managed, I see where this could be an avenue for us to drive our export agriculture.
Exactly, and that's why we are properly. We need not only the irrigation, we need the market infrastructure inside these parks to properly build out, so we can have the properly packaged salt and targeting your export market and the crop that need to be basically growing within that environment.
Right. So, and as you indicated earlier, and you are going to be putting up facilities for storage and for processing, or just storage?
That's critical, man. Processing, because we have some level of process. The one out in SS Valley, we basically want to build out so we can have some level of processing take place out there. Even last year, there was a technology specialist out of where the Caribbean country who visit one of our other park and look at it, and he said, listen, we even can start drying off from product like, your pepper, your sweet potato, your cassava, and you had some value to it and you can get it into the market. Instead of looking at those fresh produce. So there's a number of scenarios. If we get it right, if we get a success story from these agro parks going forward, it will be better for us in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean country going forward.
Yes, and I also. Yes, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
Yes, sir. We have the agro processors people in this country, like Quest and Stadler and some others that I don't remember right now, who are involved in the adding value to these raw material coming from farms. Don't you believe that the AIC could create a synergy with those people so that they can be working with the farmers in the agri-park to assure some of the raw material that they may require in order to increase the value along the value chain?
Yes, and that's a very valid argument you have put on the table, because we have Mr. Quest at our MC complex at 188 Pinestone Road, where we know we do agro-processing. So we're going to bring in all the agro-processors, the exporters, and the different persons at the table, so everybody will basically be aware, and we synthesize the public, this is how we want it to work, so we can have what we call the market linkage, which is critical, very critical going forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. And I was just wondering, based on discussions I had with farmers, and farmers in St. Elizabeth and, over the country, And one of their issues is the whole question of storage. Because you know they have a problem when there's a glut period, and then after that there is the product is finished. When there's a glut, most of the crops are a significant amount of crops is dumped. So I'm wondering if those storage facilities that you have on your agenda, if they, for example, in St. Elizabeth, if they will be able to facilitate storage for farmers who are not part of the agro scheme.
Yes, and that is exactly what we are targeting within that SS Valley, that agro park. We basically got to put in, your processing facility. You can even do some puree and different value products. So that is what we are basically targeting and the key going forward. That is what is exactly built in that environment. We try to put it in the project because of putting those irrigation infrastructure and then the market infrastructure. And then when that output comes, you will have a glut today and tomorrow. There's a scarcity. So that's why we're trying to avoid so we can the farmers can have a better production schedule going forward.
But Mr. Scarlett, if we let us look at this thing in a very serious way, you have been doing very well so far, and I appreciate that, and I thank you very much for being at the forefront of this type of drive now. But look, the matter relating to the scarcity and those type of things around here is that it's a result of poor distribution. It's a distribution problem. So the AIC, and I believe the AIC Act may allow them to deal with matters of distribution of agricultural produce around the country at various points so that our licensed people to do it. Okay? So under the control of the AIC, these purveyors or the persons who will take the produce from where it is being produced to areas where it is mostly consumed under certain protocols licensed by the AIC to ensure certain amount of consistency, the type of qualitative aspects of it, and so on and so forth. And don't you think that could be something that can be put on the table for us to start addressing the massive amount of product being dumped in the January, February period, and then the scarcity in another section of the country, or the price is higher in another section of the country, while in another part of the country the price is so low that the farmers don't even want to sell it.
And yes, and that's a very, sincere, valid argument, and that is where we basically want to put a solution because to that problem, and that's why we know that the storage facility, especially in Yalas, you see, we're in the month of February, March. Onion was a lot there in Yalas for the agro park, and if you go there now, there's no onion whatsoever there in storage. So that is why we want to basically improve in those areas, but there are opportunities within those areas to basically. And then the farmers will be better satisfied because you see the price, when the glut was on, the price was down at about $120, $130. The onion is up like over $300 per pound. So these are some of the scenarios you have to look at,
Price of onion at $130 a pound.
Yeah, when they bought it at a time in February, the price was,
No, what is wrong with that price?
With the price?
To me, that is a high price.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You jump from 130 to 300, so you want to have some level of stability within the marketplace.
Yeah, and what we have as agriculturalists, Mr. Scarlett, and you are one of the leaders in the agricultural sector. People need to look at the situation where farmers conduct themselves in ways that are unsavory. The farmers tend to be extortionary sometimes. Because there's no way something that costs the cost of production of $45 a pound is being sold at farm gate for $130, and then you lock down your farm and say you're not going to sell it unless.
Hello.
And then when you have some level of spoilage, and that is why now these new investors and these potential investors we are seeking going forward, we're going to proper sit down with them, a proper orientation with them, how we want the agro park to operate in terms of your cost of production, what the revenue is supposed to look like. So you're supposed to sit down and you can work out what your cash flow is supposed to look like, whether your accumulated cash flow over a 1 year period, and see how you are basically operating. Because if you look at in terms like in the state where Mr. Richard is, they have winter, so they make sure they produce within the period and price is maintained right through the year. It doesn't have this peak and trough as we have it out there in the Caribbean.
Yes. Well, whatever you are doing, as Dr. Thomas pointed out, that you seem to be heading in the right direction, because as you are aware, sir, one of the things that we must do, we must aim at getting our farmers to produce to the point where we can cut the last year it was $1.4 billion US dollars. We have to.
Okay. Yeah, but Mr. Richards, one of the things that we need to look at carefully when we criticize, and rightly so, the massive importation of items in Jamaica, we also have to look at the fact that we have a growing tourist industry and a large tourist industry. And the people over in that department appear to be a wonderful job of bringing the visitors here. But when the visitors can't come here and starve,
No.
And we have to make sure that the food that is required by the tourist industry has to be maintained, has to be assured.
Yes, of course. But Dr. Thomas, we know.
Let me finish here.
Yeah.
Let us look at what comprise that $1.3 billion of imports.
Yeah.
You see, if 30% of that we can't produce here in Jamaica because our environment doesn't allow it, and our processing and so doesn't allow for certain things to happen here, we would definitely have to import it to feed the tourists when they come. And the expensive palate of Mr. Richards and his cousins and Mr. Scarlett.
Yes.
You people who have expensive palate. You need to import the thing to feed you. So, unless we are importing the basic things that we can produce here in Jamaica, then we should not have a problem as such,
No, but hold on. We know that we'll have to import, Dr. Thomas. We know that. But what we are saying that there are items that we can produce in Jamaica that we don't have to import. That is
like red kidney beans.
Yes, we can. So what I would expect the agricultural sector to do is to identify those items, and then, for example, these agricultural parks that they are developing, that they would say, okay, let us produce those items, let us produce those crops.
Target them.
Right, because we have a market for it.
Right.
And you're also right, Sir Richard, because we have red peas as a part of the program. Because red peas supposed to use as part of your crop rotation program,
Yes.
Because we see with Belize going forward, Belize is having a serious, weather problem down there, and red peas, you have given the signal that red peas is going to be basically not coming to our market. So we have to basically make our farmers they are aware that it's production and intercrop the red peas, where we used to do in the past with the sweet corn, and that customers know very well how successful we were in the past in doing it, and we know we can do it. So as a part of my program, Agapan program, I've basically listed red peas as a part of it, peanut, lettuce, all those are a part of our program. But if you go back to the import bill, we know that part of that large percentage is animal feed, sweet corn, that basically is being imported, and we see we have a lot of cooking oil and other things that are basically being imported a part of that fish. Again, is a part, we basically the imported the salt fish. So again, we look at it and we see where we can break them, but we have to be strategic. We're going to do it. Because you can't produce these products all year round. So we have to target, between the, October to May, October to April and produce these products.
Right.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let us take a break. Just hold for me. Let us take a break. This is Rebel Radio. This is Rebel Radio.
That your identity remain anonymously.
Welcome back to Rebel Radio, and we are on food security. We have with us Dr. Omer Thomas and Mr. Owen Scarlett. Gentlemen, we are back. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, and
yes, I'm here. Yes.
You don't want it to appear as if I have Mr. Scarlett on in the witness stand or so, but I just want to ask a very simple question. I hear all that you plan to do, and I know some of what you're doing, and I know the leadership is in the right direction. But do you have the staff to help you to carry out some of these things, Mr. Scarlett?
Yes. So what we are doing currently, we are looking back at a new organization structure in terms of having the personnel. So the human resource is critical, along with also the capital resource. So we are looking at a new organization structure to better fit and hold suit what we need to basically better, support the agriculture sector.
But we don't want you to be looking at it, Mr. Scarlett. We want you to implement a structure. But looking at this structure, you can be looking for 4 or 5 years because they have been looking at that structure for the last 15, 20 years.
No, man, my one effective September, man. It's not, because, but we already have consultants who have done work in the past, and they have been left, it's just a matter of implementing these, and it's exactly what we do. So starting September, we start to implement the structure that we need.
Yeah, and the qualitative aspect of the people to fill the position in the structure is a critical thing too.
Very, very critical, as you know, very critical.
And you have the funding, Mr. Scarlett, right?
Well, we write to our parent ministry, and this is what we have set up need to do, and they will now go to Ministry of Finance. So it's a tripartite, situation.
So, what I'm asking, if what you are doing are your plans, they would be in part of the agriculture budget for this year.
Yes, we have some room in our compensation budget so we can start.
Okay. Well,
but look, Mr. Scarlett, I know that some of the people in your agri park, they are being looked at as persons of the higher economic strata, and therefore, the way they are looked at by the government in terms of assistance and so does not augur well for sustainability, because you have the production incentive program in government right now. Every year they put out almost $700 million to give seeds to this, to give fertilizers to that, to give pesticides to this, all over the place like that. But are your members of your agri-park qualified to benefit from some of these things? Or can the AIC take a part of that money and then judiciously use it among the investors you have to make up some of the shortcomings that exist.
Yes, and I'm happy you bring up that argument. That's a very valid argument. I don't know when the agro parks were started out in the past, it was built around farmers who were basically in some of these cluster area. They were some of one of the highest quality. And we know in terms of the program that the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and that is what the Permanent Secretary brought us to a meeting about 3 weeks ago. And he says he's looking back at that program because he says it's a national production and productivity incentive program. So we need to look at the inclusive of the agro park and the other production zone and see how we can better build out what we need to basically do where there deficiency. We need to basically build out those deficiencies. So the Minister of Agriculture is looking at that, and I'm happy you bring up that argument. And I know the Permanent Secretary is looking at that, how we need to go forward.
Tell him it is being discussed publicly on in the media, and it's something that they need to start looking at. But you must tell him, Scarlett, don't be shy, because I know you have the capability of getting certain things done.
Yes, I will tell you, in that he said we must start establishing these committees to look at the different portfolios. So I'm happy you bring up this valid, and it's a very valid argument.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you another question. I don't know if it is too early, but so far, have you been getting any response to take up those acres around the country, in St. Catherine, St. Elizabeth? Have you been getting?
Yeah, we haven't gone to market as yet. So early, come August, September, we're going to hit the market and we're going to hit the road. So we are properly building out the package. As Dr. Thomas has said earlier, we need to, give person an idea what the cost of production to do sweet pepper as compared to do sweet potato, as compared to do onion, Because everybody might say, well, onion is profitable, but when you get that 5 acre, you really realize it's a very steep hill. So we're going to say, listen, gentlemen, this is the cost to do onion per acre, and this is what we expect to take care of.
Yes. So let me just enlighten me again. The investor, I want to invest in a 5 acre plot, and I want to, first of all, I will have access to the information that will tell me what are the crops that are preferred for this park, and then you will present me with the cost of production and the marketing. What about now the marketing of the crops? Whose responsibility is that? The investor's responsibility, right?
So again, the marketing can be that to me. I look at it as a tripartite. You have agro-invest, you have the investor, you also have the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining. Where we look at and say this is the demand. Because what we want is a demand driven. We know that Scotch bonnet pepper. Everybody wants Scotch bonnet pepper. Everybody wants sweet potato. So these demand, everybody wants sweet corn. So we know the demand is out there for these crops. Right. And this is what we want to basically do. And then in that now, we mix the crop rotation, proper crop rotation, because as we know, red peas pick back nitrogen to the soil, and a number of farmers, investors, haven't planted any red peas for a long while, and they will continue planting dasheen, they continue to plant cucumber, watermelon, okra, and red peas not a part of the crop rotation. So we are basically going back to the investors and teach them and guide them with these profiles. So we're going to build out some crop profile with all these different information.
Yes. Okay. I see. And and you said so things supposed, based on what you are looking at, by the end of this year then, things should start rolling?
Well, according to the project manager, so we are now, after, for the amateur bridge pen, we have completely laid out the pipe. We're going to start to asphalt the road. So I know the project manager, informed me about 2 weeks ago that he's going to the contract for the pumps and the reservoir will be starting to build. So come early September, those will start. So we have a date or we're targeting the February 2023, 24 to basically complete that part of the project. So we can hit come March, April next year, we're rolling out,
Okay, I see.
Well, Mr. Moderator, I want to find out why is it that the farmers have been promised by the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Colonel Charles Jr. at the time, that the fertilizer prices will be reduced by 30% effective the same day he made that type of statement to the Parliament.
Yes.
And last Wednesday, I went to buy a certain volume of fertilizer, and it was still at the $18,000 per bag, and no 30% was ever applied.
But remember, you know, that if my memory serves me right, he spoke about a particular brand of fertilizer.
Same brand. The same brand he spoke about.
Okay, the same brand?
Same brand.
No.
Well, I know when he was doing his sectoral speech in Parliament, I know he mentioned 22%, you know.
Well, but there's no percentage reduction. It is still price.
No.
And it's
we'd have to look at the price, you know, at the time when it was mentioned and what the price is now and do a comparison, do a correlation.
I feel it. I know it's $500,000 it nearly cost me, and I not decided I won't buy it. Because the minister, he said it in Parliament, we all heard him in Parliament, but the implementation on the ground is not there. Is it that the minister was believing that all of us are fools, or is he trying to capitalize on the ignorance of people for his political advantage?
Well,
and he must not behave himself.
Yes.
Well, I know when I spoke to the technocrats or the person, I know for a person, if, you know, they are basically, I get some reduction in price for some fertilizer for the Mangrago Park experimental plant. So I can attest to that based on the quotation that was given to me.
Yeah, he will give it to you because you're calling from a government agency.
We can follow up on that with the general manager and find what has taken place.
Well, because you don't tell me that a private organization is colluding with a political party to confuse and fool the Jamaican farmers. Can't work. Should not work.
Well, what I can say, when I spoke to some farmers in St. Elizabeth, and they were telling me that they were not experiencing the price reduction either.
No, they're not. Because this whole thing was a political game they're playing.
So we can do some follow-up on that and find what happened. Because I know when I get quotation, I know I saw, you know.
Yeah.
I saw it on the quotation. So, you know, I would have to do some follow-up on what has taken place.
Yeah.
Mr. Scarlett, correct me if I'm wrong. Some time ago, agro-farm was started in St. Thomas. Am I right?
Started in where?
St. Thomas.
In St. Thomas?
Yeah.
Well, we have two agro parks in St. Thomas now. We have the Yams Agro Park and we have the Plantain Garden River Agro Park.
Okay. So, yes. So, update us. What is happening on those agro parks?
Well, as we said, you know, Yalas did very well with their one and crop. And now they are doing some other vegetable production to start. They waiting for the fall to start in the October, November to go back into production of onion. For Plantain Garden River, we have some challenges out in that year. We are currently working with JC, the Social Investment Corporation, Social Investment Fund, and they're going to do a new pump out in the Plantain Garden River Agro Park, and they're going to do some new piping for almost 200 acres of land within that environment. So in another year and a half or so, Plantain Garden will have a new irrigation pump, new piping system. So we're going to increase those pipes from 3 inches and 4 inches to 6 inches and 8 inches and 10 inches pipe. So we have a better flow of water. So that was out in the Saturday paper. I see they observed it in the Saturday paper, Saturday Gleaner. It was advertised for procurement. So we know they are working on that. So in a year and so forth, you know, we'll have a good irrigation system out there in the Plantain Garden River Agro Park.
Yeah. Now, how do you plan to deal with pre-delasting?
Yes.
At these parks?
Yes, another one. So what we are doing, last week I was out in the Agro Park with a consultant, and we were looking at some technology that we can develop within the Agro Park. And one of those we're looking at developing a geofencing system with cameras and utilizing some technology. So we are looking at that to see how we can work. We are also closely working with the police because they have started developing some WhatsApp group within the Agro Park zone. I know that in amateurs, they have a WhatsApp group that they're working closely with. But we definitely need some technology because, manpower can cover some of these vast area of land. So we have to utilize technology going forward.
Yes. Dr. Thomas, you have any ideas as how, and what can be done or should be done or must be done in order to address this issue, sir?
The matter relating to crime against the farm, you see, is what I have my interest in rather than going to pinpointing the pre-larceny alone.
Yes.
Because there are other crimes that are committed perpetrated against farmers, which are not necessarily pre-larceny.
Like, for example, what are you talking about?
People come and take down your fence, take down your and your things, and
go. They also light fire. They light
fire and burning coal next door to your place, and then the spark of the fire go over to your crop and burn them down.
Yeah.
So these are some other aspects of crimes against the farm, which we have to look at. You see, you put your fence up, the fence is torn down.
Uh-huh.
You see, people use the farm as a egress, not egress, but a transportation point between two distant points in the district.
Yes, that's true. You got traditional,
Yeah. And
you mean people walking through I don't understand that.
Walking through.
Yeah.
Walking through, they lock the gate at night and they wake up, and when they go back to the farm in the morning, the gate was open because some bikeman drive through, and in driving through, they may see things that catch their eyes and they may move with it.
Yeah.
People come in to break into your warehouse on the farm and steal your equipment, steal your machinery.
Yes.
A lot of that is going on.
Okay.
People have their weed whacker, they have their mist blower, they have their knapsack spray pan, and they come in and they steal those things.
Okay.
Yeah. And the difficulty that we're having is that we have the government claim that they have a pre-larceny unit. Okay? I mean...
that is stressed out.
It's a semi-waste of time thing. But as I tell you this, the police force does not treat pre-larceny complaint as anything of seriousness. They do not. The police in recent times purchased or were given some motor vehicles to assist monitoring agricultural areas to see if they can prevent pre-larceny.
Yes.
But those vehicles are being used by the regular police force to do everything except pre-larceny control.
Well, Dr. Thomas, I know the ministry through the permit is going back to Parliament because they want to basically have a can warden the agriculture warden because that policy was basically developed some time ago. And I know they are going back to see if they can get it, that final approval to move forward. So I know the ministry is working on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other day, man, I had a drone, and the drone actually took the picture of two thieves on the farm, and we called the police.
Yes.
Before the thieves could know that their pictures were taken, they were still in the field, and the police did not come. And until now, after nearly 6 weeks, the police still haven't come. And what is happening is, when you see a policeman on the road with a pre-larceny vehicle, you flag them down and they stop and you say you want to have a discussion with them about certain problems you had on the farm. And they say, oh, this is not pre-larceny, we're only using the vehicle because we don't have the vehicle. Spanish Town Police. And it appears as if the superintendent in Spanish Town has no regard for the farming communities in St. Catherine. None at all. The superintendent of police for St. Catherine South.
Well, gentlemen, they will have to. What has happened in recent weeks is something that is going to force the authorities to take a look at it, because if you see, and this is a dangerous thing, because there's at least 5 murder cases that I am aware of between St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, and St. Catherine, where suspects were killed. And this is something that we have to pay, the authorities will have to pay attention to, because these mob killings are not the answer to the problem at all.
No, definitely not.
But you see what happens though, I don't know. I don't like the mob killing. I abhor that type of thing with the utmost vehemence. But what I don't want for people to believe is that a man raising his cow for 1.5 years and so on, and target that the selling of that cow to coincide with the school fee that he has to pay for his prized daughter to go to university, to pay the book, to pay the fees and all those other things. And on the morning when he's going out to go sell the cow, so that he can go and get the money to pay the university fee, the cow is gone. What do you think that would be in that man's mind if he should see a man going down the road with an animal that looks like his in a truck, going to find themselves on the table of some curry beef or something like that? What would you expect him to do? I am not putting anything out in anybody's mind, but I can also understand the psychological situation in the man's mind when he decides to commit a crime in the mob killing side.
Yes, I can understand that too. I can understand that, because the farmers have been feeling it, especially the farmers have goat farmers, cattle farmers. They have been paying a heavy price in recent months, because I was even told by a farmer over in St. Elizabeth that they are close. They live close to an airdrome in St. Elizabeth, and they have seen airplanes coming there to pick up cattle. Stolen cattle, I'm talking about. So
that will be frightening,
Yes.
Yes. And that's what we want to do. We want the farmers them to work in terms as a group, in terms of instead of working as an individual. So we want to get into their mind. We need to work as a team to basically solve some of these problems, because we the farmers on the ground basically have to solve some of these problems by working together as a team, and then we can communicate. Communicate.
But even these same co-farmers. These co-farmers are not, we can't exculpate them from the difficulties that other farmers are having. Because when you leave your farm in the evening and you come back the next morning, as soon as you leave your farm, 12 cows, where they come from, I don't know, but people let the animals into your potato field to feed.
Yeah, that's another challenge again.
That is crimes that we're talking about too. So these co-farmers, and I don't understand, why is it that the cow thieves don't find those cows, those marauding cows at night?
Those are wild.
They are not wild. They are not wild. They appear to be wild, but touch one and you see what happens. They are not wild.
Yes. Well, boy, something has to be done. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for taking time out to be with us on food security this evening. And we have to do what we can, because this is a very serious part of our affairs.
Yes. Yeah, man. And we have to continue. There are a lot of opportunities out there despite the challenges, but we have to sit down and strategize how we basically going forward.
Of course, we have to.
And I must say that listening to Mr. Scarlett this evening brings joy to my ears that something is happening, and they have the plan, and they apparently have the willingness, and now I hear that they will have the capability to execute some of what he has said. If that is the case, Mr. Scarlett, we congratulate you, sir, and your organization, and look forward to good things from you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas, and thank you very much, Mr. Scarlett. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes. This is Rebel Radio, and that was food security. Yes, that's where we pay attention to what we do in order to keep food on our table. Let us go for a break.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
RSL Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connolly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0014.
Get your home ready for summer!
Tools coming in hot.
With a whole heap on your arrivals and specials!
Everything for your bathroom, kitchen, living room.
In fact, for every space.
Porcelain tiles, ceramic tiles.
Windows, doors, and much more!
We have it all! Saving!
Come shop now! Big time sale at Tools Hardware!
So, come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of all.
Do it for your best life, do it. Go check your HIV status, do it. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me, I tell yourself, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime, but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69. And there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what you know anonymously. Contact Crime Stop today.
Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. Yes. And we're going to be talking now to Mr. Courtney Lewis of Tancor Union. Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis.
Good afternoon, Rebel Radio. Good afternoon, Rebel Radio fans.
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes.
Oh, since we spoke the last time, Mr. Lewis, the last time we spoke, we told us about some court action which were being planned on behalf of some, for example, those fishermen down by Ochirios there, Centre, whose raft were damaged. What is going on, Mr. Lewis? Could you bring us up to date on what is happening with those matters?
Good afternoon again.
Yes, sir.
Fortunate or unfortunate, this is not Mr. Lewis. You'll hear from him in a moment. This is Paul Jamieson.
Oh, okay,
I'm
Mr.
one of the
Jamieson.
director of
Okay.
Union.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. So as it relates to the rafters down in St. Anne,
right,
we have filed a matter in the Supreme Court on the rafters' behalf.
Right.
Because we don't think, by law, a grievous act against their right has taken place, and we intervene based on a request, and we have made tremendous effort to meet the parties.
Right.
And so what it is now is that the matter is before the Supreme Court.
Right.
And we are expecting, there are some things that were to be amended, they have amended, and we're going back to court, and we are expecting that justice will have its course. I mean, there is no way any entity can just arbitrarily destroy people's property for what they think is their right so to do. The law does not make provision for that. You understand? And I believe that the parties involved need to understand the law. There's a guideline there, sir. And unless the principles are followed, we're going to have more of this. Now imagine these rafters spend, some have 2-3 rafts on the river, right? And when we send our investigators in, it's roughly 60, 70, 80, 90,000 to build one of these rafts. And it is the people's livelihood that is destroyed. So this action, you're sending family to bed hungry. You're forcing people now to go and do illicit activity in order to earn. You actually put them out of an income, right? And we need to understand also that if you have a situation, an injunction is sought.
Yes.
Court has a duty in the land. The highest decision-making body in this country is the court. Now, our investigators also has revealed that the court did not give an order for these persons' goods and property to be damaged.
Okay.
a particular entity is named. And it needs to be, there needs to be a distinction because this entity is not a government body. It's a private entity that has conditions or contract with the government. You're not the government. And we're putting it square on the table. Because if we arbitrarily, sir, give these rich folks authority to exploit and to do as they feel, in a little while, the indigenous persons of this country have no say, have no talk. People tell us what to do and they drive you right back into slavery. And we're not going to sit by and let it go idly. We're taking this matter aggressively and we're going to see to the fruition of it.
Okay. How many people are you, how many fishermen, how many raftsmen are you representing? How many?
Over 30 of them.
30 or 13?
30. 30.
Whoa.
30.
Whoa. No,
right? Not to mention people in the community who live as a result of these persons.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? We have slides of, well, the police are saying they were not involved, but they were on the ground.
Yes.
We have footage of the police on the ground.
Offering protection while the rafts are being destroyed.
So I'm concerned too, because it would have been incumbent on them to seek the proper documentation for this to take place, and I don't think that was done.
Okay. Yes.
Unheard of.
Yes. The tourism authorities were involved in this.
Oh yes. An arm of it was involved because persons are saying it's an arm of the tourism industry that does it. Now, why didn't they say, okay, sit with the folks, come away with a better understanding?
Yes.
Some of these they have license, they are trained rivermen. You can't just take people at random and set these families now to go fending in elsewhere that they know. And we can't sit by and allow the country to be petered out into disrepute of this nature. We will not stand for it. Tankwa will not sit by idly and allow this to happen. And we see these happening in different strata and different areas of the society.
Yes. So rafting is taking place there now?
In a very minuscule way because of what is happening. And we advise the folks to be clear that the matter is in the court, so they don't want to do anything to jeopardize their possession. Right?
Okay.
This underhandedness is too widespread.
Yes.
And if somebody don't do something, we're going to see bitter ending and pain to folks.
Okay.
I think it's time that the indigenous people of this country, the citizens of this country, get up and put a fight to where the fighting ground is. And Tankor is here. Once the citizenry are in their rights,
yes, sir,
we are here with outstretched arm to support and to ensure that the rights of the people are not violated.
Okay.
We came. Yes, go ahead, sir.
I also understand that you were preparing to file other suits, like in the cockpit country. Is there? Are you planning to file any suit in the cockpit?
I'll tell you something again, and that is why we preach from this platform, because we want the people to know that we Atanko will not sit idle by and allow these things to grow. Now, the Cockpit Mountain, the history of the Cockpit Mountain is not taught in its rightness. And the government who is claiming legitimate hold have a right to define and to explain to the people the stance. Now we file a paper to participate in the matter in the Supreme Court with Richard Curry, the Heritage Trust being the representative of Jamaica and the Attorney General.
Yes.
Because we recognize that there's a move afoot that it would have been in breach. We recognize it. So when the matter was brought to court, we filed the necessary document application to be a party to the matter. And since they will be tracking to find out, one, the progress, and secondly, when would be the next sitting. And all along, these go in vain until 2 days before they had a judgment. So it is clear that somebody set to undermine the citizenry of this country. So we will be appealing the order.
Yes.
And yes, and we intend to go full with it, because the Cockpit Mountain, as we speak, is a sovereign space, right? It's settled from the nation state Jamaica, and they are telling the citizenry that. So this whole thing, and they know that Chief Curry has no standing. They know.
Chief, you mean that is the Kampong Maroon Chief?
Yes. So Richard Curry. He has no standing because
enlighten me here. What was that matter that was before the court involving Chief Curry? What was that about?
What was the matter about with Chief Curry?
Yes.
All right. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, the matter was about literally ownership of the Cockpit Mountain.
Yes.
It literally boiled down to that ownership. Richard Curry or anyone, because the title Maroon is just a label. It's not. It's not. Yeah, it's a label that was given. So it's not anything that is concrete in law or a name that arrived from law from our ancestors. It's not. It's just a label. So none of these labels, because the person who call himself Maroon, they are not indigenous. The United Nations trying to give them some standing, but they are not acknowledged as indigenous people. They are not indigenous people, and they are not indigenous to Jamaica.
You mean the Maroons?
So they have no...
The Maroons?
Yes, man. Not all right. We separate the label name Maroon from the person. The label Maroon, not indigenous to Jamaica.
Hold a second. Remember the Maroons were those fighters who entered into battle with the British government. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that, because it is not so.
All right, educate
to
me.
My understanding, yes, to my understanding, the person who are labeled Maroon are the Mali soldiers from the Mali Empire that go with the British to help capture African, Sudanese, Egyptians, and bring them to the Ivory Coast and send them over here as captive.
No,
that is my knowledge of the person who call himself Maroon.
No, hold a second. You don't remember in Jamaican history that the Maroons.
I don't study that history. I don't study that. I don't study that. Those are false. Those are false information. Those are not truth information.
Also, there wasn't a Maroon war between Maroons and the British. That was false. That's what you're
To
saying?
my understanding, at no time the person who call themselves Maroons who fought against the British, they have an understanding with the British as overseer or working alongside the British and set up outposts in indigenous land, military outposts to protect the British colonies and their state from the indigenous Jamaicans. At no time.
So who you refer to? Who do you refer to as indigenous Jamaicans? Who do you describe as indigenous Jamaicans?
Let me explain it to you now. Indigenous Jamaicans are Jamaicans that are here that predate the coming of the Spanish people, predate the coming of the British people.
Those were African people?
Of course, they are African people. All of this Turtle Island, the people of the Turtle Island, which is the Americas, islanders. We are the islanders of America. The Caribbean, all of us are islanders of the America. The America is our mainland.
So the Africans,
all these people are African people who mix with the Chinese who came over from Alaska and mate with us. So we have a particular look. But we are none other than African mixed with Chinese.
No, take it easy, take it easy. We want to learn.
Sure.
Are you telling me that the Africans were here when the Spaniards came here? The Africans were here.
Of course, they were here. The Spaniards came here, I believe, in the 1400. We predate that.
So the Africans were here. The Africans were here before other Africans were brought here as slaves.
Exactly so.
Oh, I see. So those persons, those people, who Columbus, when Columbus came, those people who were here, those were Africans.
Of course they were.
Oh, I see.
And Christopher Columbus knew they were African, and he were coming to see African here. You know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. You are teaching
us.
Because you are teaching us something new.
Yes, because this was a part, because before the Roman Empire break up, Britain and all of these sections was a part, because it was before the Rome came and merged into with the Cushites when they came over and rename it Africano after Scipio Africano and rename the whole jurisdiction and merge with us. So we become Romanites as well, because it was a merge after the Second Punic War. That merge after the Second Punic War. So we become Romanites. England, the Caribbean, all this place was part of the jurisdiction. So Spain couldn't break out of Rome and didn't know the completion of the whole jurisdiction. So they know.
So
it couldn't come in like Jamaica.
So
there was a Jamaica, and then Port Royal break away. But Port Royal didn't know the whole geographical of Jamaica. They have to know.
So as it relates to the Cockpit Mountains now, you are saying that the owners of the Cockpit countries, who are the owners?
The indigenous Jamaicans are the owner of the Cockpit Mountains.
And those people are who? Who did you say?
Those people are
Africans.
They are descendants of Africans.
So the people who were known as the Taínos, you heard about those people? Where they came from?
Well, name and calling of name is the Spanish. Use that name.
So these were Africans.
So you have to ask the Spaniard.
No, I'm asking.
You have to ask the Spaniard.
I'm asking
what
you.
Were they? Yes, they were Africans. So you'd have to ask the Spaniard which set of people they call Taínos and why they call them Taínos and what were the name before them call them Taíno.
So those
you'd have to ask the Spaniard that.
No. I am asking you. I'm not going to ask the Spaniard.
Well, I can't speak for the Spaniard.
No, because
I can't speak for the Africans.
No, remember, you are the person who is challenging this situation right now. You are saying that the indigenous Jamaicans are the original owners of the Cockpit Mountain, and therefore
and Jamaica and our own.
Yeah, and therefore the claim by the Maroons is false.
Yes.
Is false.
Definitely so.
Okay.
Yes.
So
once you have that label as maroon, you cannot claim any indigenous land.
Okay.
Because that label is an enemy to us indigenous people.
Oh,
that label is just as the British to us. That label.
Yes.
Yes.
So the matter that the case that you filed in the court was to challenge that.
Definitely so. Okay. So that was to challenge on behalf of all the indigenous Jamaicans. A lot of Jamaicans are indigenous because they carry the indigenous blood in them. But they just don't know because they were miseducated and to believe that they have to have some Indian look to be indigenous, and it is not so.
No, Indian look? It's the first the first I'm hearing about. We are African people, we are not Indian people.
Yeah, but what they have been taught in these schools here in Jamaica,
that we must look like Indian.
That refer to as exactly so. There's people they call Tainos are Indian-looking people, and all this story.
That is new to me. That is new to me. I've never heard. I was never taught. I've never heard it being that we.
Well, I hear some of those stories floating around.
That we no. Put the story aside. I have never been taught that we wanted to to look like Indians. We are not Indians. Indians.
No, we are not. Man. I'm not saying that they want to look like Indian. You know. They are referring to them to be of an Indian look.
Yes.
But what I am saying, the indigenous people, they have African look. They doesn't have an Indian look. Yes. Indian came here as indentured worker during the whole slave thing that it was going on and interbreed with us from India. But the indigenous people, they doesn't have that look. Majority of them. Yeah. Majority of them more have a Chinese look than an Indian look.
Well, yeah.
So they have more Romanish face.
Hold a second. There's a distinct difference between Chinese and Africans. Distinct difference between Chinese, Indians, and Africans. You know. Distinct. It is not.
That is yes. Yes.
And remember,
what I am saying.
Remember, Chinese were not taken here to work on plantations.
Yeah, man, but listen to me now. Yeah, man, but we have to understand the transportation and the movement of people. You know, when Christopher Columbus came, or whatever his name is, came, he went to the mainland, which is the America. So when he came, he bring the Americans over to the islands and hold them here with the rest of the islanders. So and then most of the Americans with them meeting with the Chinese who came over from Alaska have a more Chinese look. That's what I'm saying to you. So when they bring the Mayans over here in Jamaica, and the Mayans have a more Chinese look, but they are African anyway, mixing with Chinese.
So those
that come down the line. So the Mayans that came here, because they bring a lot of the Mayans here as well too, you know, which enough people never know. You understand? Came to Jamaica. Christopher Columbus bring them here as prisoner, taking them from the mainland and bringing them into the islands to hold them. A lot of them just sail back across because they've been doing this trading and sailing back from the islands to the mainland. They've been doing that. So a lot of them sail back across who know the way. You understand what I'm saying? So you have a lot of Jamaicans who have that look, that Chinese look from the Mayans, which the Mayans are Africans descendants meeting with Chinese over time when they come over from Alaska. Those Mongolian looking people. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to understand our history and the change of name and the change of the geographical area. But it's our space anyway. They just change the name with time and change a name and identity with time. So we lose ourselves and lose our identity, not knowing who we are.
You want to
so I'm just trying to bring it back.
Yes, I would like you to do leave a textbook reference for me where I can go and read these things.
When you talk about textbook reference, in the hand of the enemy, we lost. You won't find any textbook mainly that
with what
refer
you are
to these
saying.
things.
Yeah, but what I am saying.
Yeah,
no,
but
hold
what
on.
I am
All right,
saying to you,
hold on a second. What you
Sure.
are telling me about now, just give me a
Yes.
reference where I can go and research it for myself.
What you want to research? Give me an example so I can make a refer to something.
No, what you are telling me about. What?
Yeah, but you have to give me an example. Say if you want something from the 1100, based on what I explained to you, say the Mali Empire, they come with the British and the Dutch and the Portuguese and went into Africa and capture people.
No, hold a second. You are telling me that the original this argument has to do with what this lawsuit that you are planning for the Cockpit Mountains, and you are telling me that the land don't belong to the Maroons as they are claiming.
No.
It belongs to the original Jamaicans, and the original Jamaicans are Indians.
No, man, I didn't say that. You're going overboard. I didn't say the original Jamaicans are Indians.
What did you say they were?
I said people proceed. Yeah, man, they are Africans.
Yeah.
They are Africans. Let me tell you that again. They are Africans. And let me say it again.
Yes, you're right. The original Jamaicans.
Say it twice. Say it twice.
The original Jamaicans were Africans.
Africa. Wonderful. You get it right now.
Right.
Good.
Right? And those are the owners of the land. No, I am telling you. I'm just asking. Yes.
Well, let me even make it more. They are the owner of a majority of the land mass on Earth. They are the actual owners. That's why when you speak of the terminology emperor, which means universal ruler, global ruler, a pharaoh, same thing, an emperor, global ruler, it means him rule the world. And his kingdom, which is kings in kingdoms within the empire. So a lot of these kings need to be charged for treason to go against the empire and trying to undermine the imperial family that keep the world intact. That is what happened. We'll undermine the imperial family and overthrow the imperial throne. And these kingdoms cahoots together to set up this fictitious nation state and have people enslavement. That's what it is. They need to be charged for treason against the empire.
All right. I tell you what, we have exhausted our time for this segment of the program. So what I can say is that let us say to be continued.
It will be continued.
Yes. So
it's ongoing reclassification and re-education of our people.
Absolutely.
We want to be learning our own knowledge. We want to know what we did, what is our history. That's what we're trying to bring to the forefront.
Yeah. What is your name? What is your name?
Courtney Lewis is my name, sir.
Oh, Courtney. Okay. All right, Courtney.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So to be continued, and we will talk some more. And thank you very much for keeping me abreast of what is happening.
Man, thank you for your time and thank you for this opportunity for sharing this information, which is so suppressed and undermined to your listeners. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Have a good evening.
You too, sir.
Yeah. Yes, that was Courtney Lewis from Tancor Union, keeping us abreast of what is happening in other parts of the island and keeping us up to date and action taken to defend the rights of those raftsmen in St. Anne. Yes, this is Rebel Radio. Let us go for a break. Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. Yes. And at this time we have with us Mr. Mark Cameron from Hope, Jamaica. Mr. Cameron.
Yeah, man.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Well, I am supposed to be okay.
Good.
So tell my listeners what your organization is about and what are you up to?
Well, I represent, I speak on behalf of the Council of the Up Jamaica movement.
Yes.
Up Jamaica movement is, we deal with trying to change Jamaica with education, and we also education and help assisting our people in this post-colonial time.
Yes.
Which we have not fully adjusted because, as you know, our minds are not in a safe space to fully liberate ourselves from the past. So we're on an educational campaign, and we also do have a political arm.
Yes.
Where we plan to contest the next election.
Okay.
Now, one of the things we focused on is what kind of governance we want in our country.
Yes, sir.
And fortunately, we are armed with the information that we need to make the necessary changes that can assist us in making a better Jamaica. In other words, we've looked on what has not worked and what has worked, and have come up with a formula that allows us to be as inclusive as possible, where Jamaicans have a real voice in how our country is being run. As you know, we are being told how we should be governed. We are not in charge of how we want to be governed. And that is because we are still under the old colonial system, the Master Bakra system, where they tell us what they want or expect from us. In our movement, our focus has been on the type of governance that we want. And we believe that a president should be elected by the people. We do not believe that the leader of a political party, if they win, becomes the Prime Minister of Jamaica. We believe that there should be an open vote by all Jamaicans on what kind of leader who they want to select as a leader. We also believe that.
No, but hold a second. Hold a second.
Sure.
The system that we have now, that is what happened, you know. Two political parties contest the election. The voters vote for one of the parties.
They vote for party. They vote for party, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, that is the system that we have since 1944. And then at the end of the election, the party that wins the election, the leader of that party becomes the Prime Minister. So
which is foolish.
No, hold a second. Let me just understand this. Your system. You are arguing for you are going to contest. Your movement is going to contest the next election, right?
We are going to contest the next election under their system. Unfortunately.
That's what I'm.
However,
you're going to. So you are. Going
however.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go
however.
Ahead. Yes.
Based on the mandate of our supporters and of our people, that is what we're going to change. We are now in a very critical part of our development as a country. The Prime Minister has, from his perspective, foolishly put together a constitutional reform committee. He thinks that he's going to just push through a ceremonial president and keep the status quo.
Yes.
However, it has opened the eyes of all Jamaicans that now believe, that now understand that they're going to have a say in how the structure of the government is going to be.
Okay.
So we, my brother, are now, all of Jamaicans are now the new founding mothers and fathers of a new constitution. And we are engaged. I was at Jamaica House 3 weeks ago, where I presented along with Peter Townsend from the NDM on the kind of structure we want in government.
Okay.
And that is what we are advocating. We want an elected president by the Jamaican people. We want an elected Senate that is not nominated by the Jamaica Labour Party or the PMP, but elected by the people.
How many members?
We also believe.
Hold a second. Just let me just understand you. Right now you have 13 members of the Senate. In your form of government, how many senators you will have?
We'll have one for each parish. There's 14 parishes in Jamaica.
So you'll have 14.
So one in each parish.
14,
right, and there'll be
14 senators.
Right, and they'll be elected by the people.
And they'll be elected. And hold a second now. So the president, you're under your government, the president will represent who? Which party? Is he going to be a Democrat or a Republican or a PNP or a JLP?
Oh, well, here we go now, right? Yeah. There has to be a transitionary period in how things are done. We're under colonial Western
and we want
Western style.
And we want to change that.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying to you, boss, is that there are two ways to effect change, okay? One by revolutionary means, by guns and ammunition, or you just use the same system what them have, play the deck what them give you, and convince the Jamaican people that this is the way to go, okay, by education. So one of the things we're going to do is to embark on an educational campaign around the country with different town hall meetings outside of the Constitutional Reform Committee that they put in place.
Okay.
To allow Jamaicans to understand their rights and responsibilities as citizens of this country.
Yes, but coming up, but hold a second. So in the next election, which is due in September 2025, your movement is going to contest the election you under the existing system.
We don't have a choice because we cannot.
No, I'm not saying
allow this oppressive system. I want to know this.
I am trying to understand.
We are going to contest the next election.
Yes.
No, we are going to do that because we cannot afford to have another term of what we have now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand something, I just want to understand where you are, That is why I'm asking.
No, that's what we're dealing with, Virgin. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that Jamaica has become a vassal state of the United States. See? We're not as independent as we claim to be. When America said jump, we say how high. And we have not looked on Jamaicans making decisions that best affect Jamaica.
Yeah.
Let me say this to you. It's easier to change a country of 3 million people than 300 people that exist in the United States today. And all we have to do is to educate our people that, materialism now going to work for you because you got dead and left that, What we have to educate them is that our brotherhood and sisterhood, how we communicate and how we live in harmony with our people, that's what.
Hello?
Brethren, we all die and leave these things behind us. I'm a successful businessman, see?
Yeah.
I had my company in California for 24 years. I do a lot of different things over there. That's why they call me Mark Renaissance Cameron. I'm a welder. I'm an artist. I've made presentations to Mia Motley 2 months ago, to the Prime Minister's wife, to Lisa Hanna. I've cooked on all major networks here in America. So it's not like say, boy, it's not like say, me a try thing. I've been doing this for a long time. I worked at Reggae Sunsplash, design their logos, design. I built the only Cutstone apartment complex in Jamaica, in Mandeville. If you Google Cutstone Experiment, you'll see me there called Mark Cameron. You'll see me there with the Gleaner. I went before Parliament on my own and force the bauxite companies to put sprinklers on the mud lake that were not affecting me. It was affecting my gully residents. And this was not in a political context. It's just my inherent love of my people that I didn't like to see what's going on where I got involved. I'm not a political person, but at the end of the day, politics is how your government is structured.
If you're going to run in the next election, you must be a political person, man.
No, but what I'm saying to you, boss, hold on. I'm saying I don't like politics.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like it. See, I have other things where I can. What I achieved that wasn't done in a political realm, brethren. I did it as a citizen of Jamaica. The only reason I got into politics because I was part of the movement of the UIC with Joseph Patterson, which I co-founded with him. And when some little arms house thing went down, I decided to move away from that.
Oh, so you're a former member. You were a member of the UIC.
Brethren, I was the first vice president, bro. Okay. I founded the movement with Joseph Patterson. I left because of him.
You founded the movement, not Joseph.
I was a founding member of the UIC. I drafted all the strategies, some of the policies. I was in charge of the whole promotion of the UIC. When I met Joseph Patterson, he only had 140 people on his page. A long time he had this thing in our bridge, and I like said what I started yesterday. But he asked me to lead, and I told him no because I'm not interested in it. But I will help you if you are willing to do it, which is what I did, and I did that diligently. I was at his side until I realized that we're no longer comrades in the same movement, and I had to side with the NEC that left the movement.
Okay.
I came out when we had a good staff on board, good managers. I left because, like I tell you before, I'm not interested in politics. It's not my thing.
Okay.
But me now, my command drive me down Spur Tree Bridge and I can't drive. You understand? So me have to go take the helm of it.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm now forced to do. I am the interim leader because we registered. We have to register like that. Howard McDonald is the president. But until we find a leader to move or move, take our thing forward, I am the leader.
Okay.
But we lead by consensus. We have a council, and we lead by consensus. It's not like a dictatorial thing like what Patterson used to deal with. You know, where YMCA goes. No, we discuss things in an Afrocentric type of leadership structure, and we discuss openly what we want and make decisions based on that.
Okay.
So it's very inclusive. I think we are going to win because once them hear the message, we're not paying no guy for vote for us, see? Because it's for their benefit as well as ours.
Yeah.
So we're not a handout. We're not giving a guy no corgo dinner. No, we're not dealing with that.
Okay. So you're going to be
change Jamaica.
You're going to be fielding.
What's that?
You're going to be fielding candidates in all constituencies.
Absolutely. We are going to field candidates where we believe we can win.
Also, not all.
However, it's too early. It's too early to make a decision on that because we are doing our town halls. We're interviewing people who are under our agenda for change. And eventually, within short order, we'll have enough candidates to be the majority. But we are willing to support. We're willing to support any other candidate that is aligned with our kind of governance. In other words, if we don't have no candidate in say, St. Catherine and we have a Virgin or whatever, the NDM or the Marcus Garvey Party have a candidate there, we're going to support them.
Okay.
Because it's inclusiveness we deal with. We're not really dealing with separation, because we want the same thing. As long as we're aligned on the government structure, we will support anybody.
Yeah.
We don't really care because, like I said, we will be victorious as a country if we're all united. We have the same history now. We're farmer enslaved.
Yes, of
You know
course.
when the man I try separate us like this. That don't make no sense. We want the same thing. We want safe streets. We want good, relevant education, economic development based on merit and based on our capacity to execute. These are things that we need to really deal with, and we're not doing that in a way that is measurable or is going to change the needle. I have said to everybody before, I said, listen, I have no problem walking away if the PNP or the JP adopts our policies.
Yes.
We're not looking for going to government, brethren. We're doing this because we have to. We have to save ourselves. You understand?
Yes.
We don't have a choice. And that's why I try to tell people, say, hey, we're not the typical government people I look work. We're not looking for a job.
Yes.
Government is service. It's not about looking for a job and I come talk about you want this amount of money for serve. No, the man is serving a road through and all kind of different service organizations. They don't ask for money, but you want money from Jamaican people who now make money, brethren. How much money is Jamaica making a year? We are borrowing to survive, and we are liquidating our assets to pay our bills. So anybody that's a part of Jamaica have to look at it from a service standpoint. As a matter of fact, if we get in as government, we're going to roll back them kind of money there.
Okay.
Because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
And other persons are, hey, in my home, come my yard when I grew up as a virgin, and you show up, my brother says you used to vex when strangers come, when people come in my yard, because guess what? They might get the breast and leg and we get the chicken back. You understand? Because that's how I grew up. Yes. I grew up believing that your guests get the best. All right? So if we as public servants come in there now, right? How me can give myself a salary and patrol the boat? Man, I broke them axe and marketing for patrol. We now get good service from GPS to light and all. Come on, bro. And them not do nothing innovative. To say, boy, and I wrote about this years ago. We should be using the southern coast of Jamaica to harness solar power so we can engage our manufacturing sector that needs these type of resources to be viable. A pure idiot around the place, brethren. And me I watch it for a while. When I did these things, I didn't do it in the political realm. I watch the man them, brethren. Watch the man them. But it comes to a critical stage, where the man my teeth all bolt money, brethren, and the Prime Minister quiet. Come on, we deserve better than that. Yeah. Look at our athletes. Our athletes are performing because they're based on meritocracy. Shelly and don't beg for a spot on the team.
No, she perform.
No, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
You have to earn it, brethren. And we believe that a president will have to go to an elected Senate based on the people that he or she recommends, and the elected Senate will validate these persons based on meritocracy, based on their ability to serve. You can't come in as a agriculture man. I deal with energy. No, that not gonna work in a up Jamaica kind of thing. We have to deal with solutions. Jamaicans can succeed. We can. Yes. But we have not had the leadership and the commitment and the love of our people to move us forward. We have not had that.
Yes, yes.
I saw some of that in my command, but I have not seen that since him. And he must know angel leader. But can do some things what I never really check for. But I want to tell you something. Anybody that align with a Marcus Garvey philosophy, but did it, because I survive based on that philosophy. There's nothing that I cannot do. Unless me don't want to do it.
Yes.
You understand? So we're having a conference on the 20th of October with Carlos Daly and a few other people.
Where?
Anyway, Bridget, look,
where are you going to be?
Where
are you going to be having this conference? Where are you going to be having this
on the
conference?
20th, on the 20th down by downtown Kingston. But Bridge, I have a little emergency. I have to call it back. Can I call it back?
No, okay, no. I want to thank you very much for your contribution. And we'll talk again. So, let us say to be continued. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Mark Cameron from Up Jamaica telling us about his movement and his plans for Jamaica. You know, it's he has some interesting ideas. We have to see how those are going to be implemented. Yes. But, well, I don't, one of the things that we will have to, one of the things that we have to talk about is with the different systems of government, right? The system of government that we have now, we want to, there are ideas, there are suggestions that it should be changed, right? Mr. Cameron is suggesting that we should have an elected cabinet, elected Senate, and elected MPs. No, I don't know if, you know, should we have 2 elected houses? Well, that would be a change from what we have now. Well, as we go along, let us see how these ideas, how they are generated and how they can be dealt with and implemented for change. Earlier on this afternoon, I remember Lucius White was saying that some positions in the Integrity Commission should be included in the Constitution. You know, so he's saying that the Director of Prosecutions and Investigations should be constitutionalized. Well, these are interesting times. Interesting times. We also spoke about Advocate Network, who they have initiated a debate among schools because they want to get the young people involved in shaping the ideas for the new constitution. Well, I believe that the young people should play a significant role in this constitution because it will be their constitution. We who live for 60 years, which is the age of this constitution, the existing constitution. Well, whatever changes, the new constitution that we are talking about must be for the young people. And they must play a significant part in how it is drafted, what is included and what is excluded. You know, we want them, and we want all Jamaicans to participate in this new constitution. We want everybody. Well, we have come to the end of today's program. Yes, and we want to thank all our listeners and viewers, all those who took time out. We want to thank our guest. Yes, and we want to thank our technical operator, Kevin. Well, until Friday, I want you to stay safe and healthy, right? And remember to stay tuned to Rebel Radio. You can listen to a replay of this evening's program on Rebel Radio and Google. So until then, stay safe. I'm Desmond Richards, and this is Rebel Radio.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
RSL Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connolly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0012. Consulting Services Limited was created for you. We are committed to provide the best in real estate investment opportunities in residential, commercial, and agricultural properties all over Jamaica. Contact us at 11 Connolly Avenue, Kingston 4, or call us at 876-948-0012 or 876-948-0012.
Get your home ready for summer!
Tools coming in hot, hot!
With a whole heap on your arrivals and specials!
Everything for your bathroom, kitchen, living room.
In fact, for every space!
Porcelain tiles, ceramic tiles,
windows, doors, and much more!
We have it all! Savings, savings, savings!
Come shop now! Big time sale at Tools Hardware!
So, come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of all.
For your best life, wait. Go check your HIV status, wait. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it, don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime, but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69. And there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what